Hello, good morning from the United States of America. This is officially our first YouTube video. This is going to be a tier list of every country that I've been to. This morning, I realized I've actually been to 50 countries. I thought the count was 49, but I never counted Spain in any of my lists. So we're actually at 50. We got 50 countries to go through and rank. Here we've got S, A, B, C, and D. So I want to run down the criteria of each tier. S is exclusive. These are almost countries that I could see myself moving to. Basically flawless experiences. Countries that when I left them, I was already planning my next trip back by the time I was on the plane. A is I had a wonderful experience. Amazing country. Would absolutely go back in a heartbeat. B are good countries. Countries that I would maybe go back to, that I had a pleasant experience in. B is also going to potentially be countries that I just haven't explored enough of. There's going to be a lot of countries you're going to see that I've only been to a city or two in the country. If I had a pleasant experience there and I just can't give it a proper rating, it's probably going to fall in the B tier. C tier are countries that maybe I had an okay time in, but probably wouldn't go back. And then D is for countries that I just probably under no real circumstance would have a need to go back to. There's no F because I have not been to a country that I truly hated. I have, through 50 countries, I've not been to a single country that I was like, I absolutely hate this place. I would never wish it on my worst enemy. No countries like that. So the worst we got here is D tier. So let's jump right into it. Let's start. I first left the country when I was 21 years old, and I went to our neighbor to the north. First, I was in Toronto, I've been to Montreal, and I've also been up in the mountains up by Banff and all through Alberta. Overall, Canada is a great country. Friendly people. This might upset some people, but they're little brother. As an American, I have a lot of love for the Canadians. Super friendly. I've traveled with a fair bit of them. Toronto, mixed feelings about the cities. I really enjoyed Montreal. Nothing stands out too much. It's very similar to America. So for that reason, it's going to land in B tier. Now, our neighbor to the south, Mexico. Mexico and Canada could not be more different. Mexico, amazing. Some of the best food in the entire world. My two top contenders there are Mexico and India. For food, unbelievable food all throughout Mexico. Some of the most hospitable people I've ever met in the world. Mexico is nice because in a lot of places like Tulum and Cabo and Cancun, it's built for tourism. So you can go experience the beaches, you can go off the resort, yada, yada, eat great food, and then you can go back and, feel relatively safe. That's going to be an opinion of mine that gets reiterated here, but I actually think a lot of these countries on the tier list aren't quite as dangerous as the media makes them out to be. Mexico, although super different from Canada, for me is going to land also in B tier, a country that I will most definitely go back to. Not cream of the crop level, but a great country nonetheless. Third, we have the United Kingdom. The United Kingdom exceeded my expectations. I was in London. I've been in London for a cumulative 4 days now. And I was not expecting much. To be honest, I heard that London was a bit dirty in parts, super expensive, the weather's shit. That is true. The weather is absolutely terrible. For 3 of the 4 days I was in London, it's just a proper day in London. Clouds, it's raining, it's 50 degrees out. But nonetheless, I had a really good time in London. I explored, I walked around the entire city. I like the way the city is designed. I think the people are friendly. The food isn't much of anything, although I am a huge fan of a big English breakfast. I know we're kind of stacking B tier right now, but they're going to land in B tier as well. I need to explore a lot more of the United Kingdom. I need to get up to Scotland. I'd like to go to Wales. There's so many places I'd love to see a Prem game. I will absolutely go back to the United Kingdom. I can't put them any higher, and they definitely don't deserve to be any lower. The Czech Republic, I've only been to Prague. Prague, in my opinion, is probably an A tier city. It's amazing. It's got that kind of medieval vibe. It's cheaper. Eastern Europe, just in general, compared to Western Europe, so much cheaper. would I go back to the Czech Republic? Maybe. Did I have a great time while I was there? Yes. I can't remember. You're going to tell I'm not a great traveler in certain senses, like foods. I don't remember the name of like 99% of the foods that I eat. I just remember how good they were. But the Czechs, amazing beer, some of the best beer I've ever had. And they've got a dish. It's like this, almost like this goulash kind of meat. And then you've got like these potato pancakes. One of the best meals I've ever had abroad. I couldn't tell you it. And if I saw it, I definitely couldn't pronounce the name of it. Czech Republic was great. Kind of different from a country like England, where England probably didn't have as good of an experience as I did in the Czech Republic, but I'm more prone to go back to the United Kingdom. So it's going to go in B tier as well. And I know you're like, oh my gosh, all these countries going in B tier, they're all going in B tier for different reasons, but valid reasons. All of them, none of them are spectacular. None of them are not great. But next country, Poland. Poland is going to be our first A tier. Poland is great. Poland is probably my favorite country in Eastern Europe. And I am a big fan of Eastern Europe. Poland might just be my favorite country in Europe. I was in Krakow. We took a train and buses through parts of Western and Southern Poland. The people, super friendly, really good food. I'm a big fan of pierogies. A lot of vodka shots at dinner, something to get used to. But Krakow literally feels like a time portal. It feels like you just transported 40 years ago, where everyone's grandma and grandpa is sitting on the benches. They're reading the newspaper. No one has their phones out. Everyone's conversating, laughing, having a beer. The old town of Krakow is beautiful. Super clean too. I had a great time in Poland. I would absolutely go back. A tier. It's a great country. Now, Hungary. This is where it gets tough. Because A tier is elite countries, like amazing countries. They should be basically countries with almost basically flawless. And S tier is like on a different level. Hungary, I'm so tempted to put in A tier because Budapest was my favorite city on the planet through 30 countries. That may sound crazy. I'd gone to Istanbul. I love Istanbul. We'll get there. I don't want to spoil anything, but I'm a sucker, and you're going to figure this out pretty quickly. I'm a sucker for a good, like perfected medium-sized city. Budapest a little bigger than Krakow, but look at everything I just said about Krakow. I love cities like that, where it's not too chaotic. Trust me, I love chaos too. Not too chaotic, clean streets. Budapest was kind of the best of both worlds. The pest side, it's a city divided by the Danube River. You've got the two sides. You got the Buda side that's more that quieter, historic. You have some great views of the Parliament building across the river from there. Good restaurants. And then the pest side's a little more active. You have like the ruin bars. You have, don't even get me started on the Prosecco tour down the Danube. I loved Budapest. I actually hitchhiked through Hungary. This was the first time I ever hitchhiked. The people were incredibly hospitable. And you know what? For the sake of this video, because it's my tier list, I get to put the countries where I want. People are going to be like, oh, you only spent 3 or 4 days here and you spent 2 weeks here. You can't make a fair judgment. It's my tier list. This is not an objective list. This is not a list I'm submitting anywhere. Like, this is objectively these countries. It's not countries I necessarily want to move to. It's the experience I had in the country, and I'm going to do it. I don't care. A tier for Hungary. The people were amazing. I met some super friendly Hungarian people. Ate at some great local spots. I loved Budapest in my entire time hitchhiking. Again, gonna butcher the name of the city. It's in northeastern Hungary. I think it's like Miskolc. Butchering that. But I hitchhiked all the way there. I met so many friendly people on the way that gave me rides. That introduced me into hitchhiking, something that I've now done a ton. So Hungary's got a special place in my heart. A tier. Why not? Okay, Romania. Romania is interesting because I went through a lot more of Romania than I have at least a few countries that are, I'm alluding here, it's going in C tier, that I've been to on this list that I've already ranked. But Romania just wasn't all that special, I gotta be honest. Bucharest is probably one of my least favorite capital cities in Europe. Underwhelming. It's like gotta be the strip club capital of the world. I'm telling you, I was with a couple buddies and it's like, you want to go, you want to get a beer, you want to sit at the bar, you just want to take in the city. And you have Romanian guys coming up to you. You think they're being friendly. You think they're like, oh, nice to meet you. You're American. Oh, I'm glad you're here. Let me show you my bar. And we're like, okay, yeah, your bar should be good. Like, we'll try a Romanian beer. No. Every time a Romanian man, they're a promoter. I promise you, if you're in Bucharest, they're a promoter. Not the most pleasant experience. Bucharest also, like, I'm very into that ex-Soviet Eastern European bloc, brutalist architecture. I think it's just very fascinating. But Romania doesn't do it like, I don't know, I don't like the Romanian version of whatever that kind of like Eastern bloc is. Yes, it's a gray aesthetic as is, but there's something about Romania. It's a little too dull. The people were a bit cold, I felt. All right, I'm saying a lot of, C-Tier's not that bad. It's really not that bad. Like, I'm glad I went. I had a pretty neutral experience. Romania has some beautiful mountains. Transylvania, that kind of region, like Brasov, beautiful small city. But the capital, I didn't love. We drove a car from Cluj-Napoca, which is in the northwest, down to the southeast in Bucharest. And it was just kind of meh. I probably wouldn't go back. It's getting C-Tier. Speaking of a country I wouldn't go back to, Bulgaria. Bulgaria is going to be our first country in D-Tier. It's worse than Romania. We were in Varna. The only place that I would maybe go back to in Bulgaria, and honestly, like, I don't think I'd ever have a great reason to, is Sofia. Sofia, from the pictures and the videos I've seen online, some really cool architecture. I love those kind of like, I don't even know what the name for them is, but those like golden, almost like mushroom top pieces on the cathedrals and the buildings. And Sofia seems to have a lot of those. But overwhelmingly, my opinion on Bulgaria is just meh. I wouldn't go back. Not great food. It was very cheap, particularly cold people. I felt super gray, just not a lot going on. Yes, you get that kind of Eastern European Soviet vibe. I'm glad I went. Every country on this list, outside of maybe one, and we'll get there, it might surprise you actually, but I'm glad I went. I would never go back. Sorry, Bulgaria, D tier. All right, Turkey. Turkey, again, this is similar situation to the Great Britain situation where it's tough to rank this one. I've only ever been to Istanbul. I was in Istanbul for a few days. I loved Istanbul through 30 countries before I went on this 4-month trip. Istanbul was probably my second favorite city in the world behind Budapest. Istanbul is a phenomenal city. There's so much going on. That was like up to that point, the most chaotic city I'd ever been in. Like, amazing food. I'm a big fan of Turkish food. Great kebabs, why am I blanking? Baklava. I got an amazing haircut in Turkey, was hitting some shisha while getting a reverse fade. The guy started the fade up top, and I thought like it was going to be the worst haircut of my life. Probably ended up being, no joke, like the best. Super friendly people. We got in to Istanbul on an overnight bus from Bulgaria. Met a shop owner at basically like a bodega, like a Turkish bodega. Gave us like free Turkish tea, free Turkish pastries. Super nice guy. Beautiful mosques. That was like my intro to, it's the first and I think really only, Islamic Islamic practicing country that I've been to. Beautiful mosques. Very friendly, kind, hospitable people. The Grand Bazaar is amazing, but again, this is all within Istanbul. Istanbul as a city is probably really high A tier, but I'm going to put Turkey in B tier because I just have so much more to do. I've heard great things. It's probably A tier, but I just can't put it there for the sake of I haven't seen enough. All right, Bosnia. It's going to surprise a lot of people. Bosnia, B tier. B tier. Bosnia, I think, is the second or third most underrated country for me in all of Europe. Bosnia is great for what it is, right? It's a top tier Balkan country, in my opinion. And, I had a great time there. Sarajevo is kind of an underwhelming capital. It's a very interesting, there's a lot of interesting history in Bosnia. You have the war with the Croatians all through the 90s. I'm a big history buff, so you have bullet holes in so many of these buildings. When you go and you kind of get off the beaten path a little bit, you have landmines, like literally signs on the sides of like these trails, like don't veer off the trail. There could be landmines in these fields. This was a country that was kind of war torn less than 40 years ago, and there's a lot of history that resonates still. Mostar, beautiful, beautiful, one of my favorite small towns in Europe. Stayed with, shout out, her name is Midas Hostel, my favorite hostel I've ever stayed at. It's this grandmother. She does a phenomenal job there. There's a 75-foot bridge, the Mostar Bridge. It's very famous. Everyone who goes there, not everyone, but a lot of people who go there go to jump off the bridge. And the funny story there is they've got tiers. You have to build up to a 75-foot cliff jump. You can literally die jumping from that height. So you got to build up. There's I want to say a 25, 30, 40, 55, 56 foot cliff jump that you build up to before you do the bridge itself. And I got all the way up to the third one, 55 feet, something like that. And I jumped and basically face planted and almost knocked myself unconscious, got a horrible concussion. And it's a freezing cold river that's running under that bridge. So that was probably one of the closest I've ever come to dying. If I slipped out of consciousness there, I'm probably rolling around to this day on the bottom of that river. But yeah, Bosnia, B tier. I don't know that I would ever go back. That's why I can't put it higher. And it's a very small country, but friendly people, great time. Cevapi or Sivapi, again, pronunciation not the best. I think it's Cevapi. Great little sausages, ate a ton there. Good country, underrated. Hot take, gonna get some slack for this one. Croatia, I'm putting it in C tier. I think it's overrated. Maybe 5, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I wouldn't know. I wasn't there then. Maybe Croatia used to be a hidden gem. Now, I've been to Italy. I've been along the Mediterranean to Spain. I actually think Dubrovnik was one of the most crowded cities that I've ever been to in terms of tourism. There were more tourists in Dubrovnik than I saw almost anywhere. The old town is beautiful, but there's a million people walking around. The one redeeming quality about the old town was there's an awesome club. It's downstairs somewhere in below the old town, I think. And if you go at 10 p.m., it's sick because there's no one in the old town. You get it to yourself. We're running around the walls, screaming. It's echoing off the walls. It was really, really, really cool. But during the 16 waking hours of the day, it's super crowded. Unless you're there at midnight, 1 a.m., I don't love it. I didn't love it, rather. Too touristy for me. Split again. I kind of overrated. Didn't love it. Yeah, nightlife's not bad. Hvar is pretty cool in Croatia. But I don't know. To be honest, I have no admiration to go back. I think it's an incredibly touristy place. And I think Croatia kind of falls victim to the people still think it's oh, Croatia, do we go to Italy or Croatia? Well, Croatia's probably a little more underground still. No, Croatia is so crowded and it's getting super, super expensive. So for those reasons, I'm going to go C tier. Albania, and I'm going to get a lot of slack because I'm going to have Croatians or people who love Croatia be like, you put Bosnia over Croatia? Or, alluding here, you put Albania over Croatia? Yes. Based on the things that I value authenticity, kind of getting off the beaten path, not feeling like I'm a tourist when I'm in a country. And I'm sorry, in Croatia, you feel like a tourist. Albania, B tier. I'm going to reorganize this list really quick. Okay, so in my personal experience, I have to put... I know I said Poland was my favorite country in Eastern Europe, but I take that back. I'm going to say it's Hungary just because of the experiences I had there. As for B tier, let's rearrange this a little bit. Mexico's great. I love Mexico. People are gonna be like, "Are you kidding me? You have Bosnia over Canada? That's ridiculous." Let's go. I actually liked Albania a little more than Bosnia. We'll get into that, and then that looks about right. This looks about right. Yeah, and then Croatia. No, I'm sorry. I think Romania. I had more fun in Romania than Croatia, and then Bulgaria. Yeah, sorry. Okay, where were we? Albania, B tier, solid B tier. Country, I don't know that I'd ever go back to. I thoroughly had a great time there. Shkodër, very cool, like smaller, very small city, it seems like, in the north, up near Tef National Park. Albania has some unreal mountains up there. The panoramic views, if you're at the right spot, unbelievable. The beaches in the south, I think, are a little overrated, a little underwhelming. I was in Vlor. People hype up the Albanian beaches. Maybe I just didn't go to the right ones, but like they can contest with like the Amalfi Coast or parts of Spain, even parts of Greece. In my experience, I thought they were like okay at best. Not the most redeeming part of Albania. And Tirana was cool. It's an affordable country. I love the Balkans. You're going to be able to tell, like, I feel like a lot of people would have Balkan countries. If there was like an F tier, I think a lot of Balkan countries would fall C to D. Maybe like a B here and there. I actually favor them, I think, a lot more than most people. I love Eastern Europe. I love the Balkans. Big fan. Albania, solid B tier. Montenegro's tough. This is like going to be a new kind of case that we're talking about here. And that is small countries where I just don't think there's enough going on. Did I enjoy Montenegro? Yes. I was in Kotor, Podgorica. It's okay. Like, it's pretty good for what it is, but it's so small that I really can't put it any better than like low C tier. I'm tempted to put it D. I don't want to put it D because I did like my experience there, but I would never go back. I have literally, Montenegro of the 50 countries here is probably in the bottom 5 of countries I'd ever revisit. I have literally no reason to go back. I'll put it in low C tier because I did enjoy my time. Pretty nice beaches. Friendly enough people, good enough food, but compared to like Albania, Bosnia, and honestly like even Croatia, just it doesn't stack up. All right, Greece. Greece is B tier. I want to say Greece is better than Bosnia. Greece is probably better than I haven't been to the islands. I'm going to put, in my experience, Greece is going to go behind Albania before Bosnia. I actually really liked Athens. I think Athens gets a lot of slack from people online, being dirty, being grimy, being gross. I thoroughly had a good time in Athens. I'm a big history buff, so I could walk around Athens all day and be fascinated, reading all of the different monuments and exploring. I thought it was a really cool city. Then again, you guys are going to, learn this too, and I'm sure you already have if you've traveled. Travel is so subjective. It's completely based on your own opinion. I could have so for example, in Athens, I woke up one morning at like 6, walked the city all day, I had a great time. Maybe that morning, if I slept until 10 and ran into the wrong guy at the pastry shop who like cussed me out, it could be in C tier. Like, it's subjective. Everyone has different opinions of places they've been based on their experiences there. I had a good experience. We rented a car, drove from Athens all the way up to Thessaloniki. I think it's pronounced Mitora. It's like super, super cool. There are like houses, and I want to say, if I'm remembering correctly, there's like a church on these insane rock formations, like 100-foot tall, skinny rock formations that they built property on. I'm saying property like it's like some commercial real estate. Like, I'm pretty sure those are like super old houses, and I don't want to misquote, but I think there might be a church up there. It's pretty fascinating. Yeah, Greece, B tier. I got to go back. I got to see the islands. I can't put it any higher. Definitely don't want to put it any lower. I had a great time there. Serbia, yeah, I might catch some slack because I don't know. I had a good time in Serbia. I did. And I know if there's a lot of Balkan people watching, you're seeing me rank all these countries very well. You're probably hoping that Serbia is in D tier or F tier. But I did like Serbia. I liked it a lot. Belgrade was a really nice city. It was clean. It was kind of the aesthetic that I love, like, nice cobblestone streets in certain areas. There's some beautiful parks, nice restaurants, friendly people. Yeah, Serbia, I wasn't there for too long, but I would put it in also in B tier. And I know you're like, there are so many countries in B tier, but B tier is B tier for a reason. Look, it's in the middle. Like most countries, it's a standard deviation. Most countries are gonna fall in the middle. I can't give. Notice how I haven't touched S. And if there was an F, this next country, I'm sorry to all my Belgians, but Belgium is the worst country that I personally have been to. I did not have a great experience. Belgium, I've talked to kind of more well-traveled people that are a lot older than me, and years ago, I think Belgium was probably a beautiful place. I was only in Brussels and Ghent, and honestly, I had a great time in Ghent. Ghent was like a nice little quaint city. It was some like observation day. I was there a couple Mays ago, and there was some type of observation day. Everyone's kind of just out drinking, having a good time. That was thoroughly a solid day. But Brussels is my least favorite city in the world that I've ever been to. It is incredibly depressing. The weather in Belgium's not great. It's kind of similar to that Netherlands and UK. Like it's very cloudy very often. And in the few days I was there, pretty much straight clouds. And again, this is subjective, right? Like if you went to strictly Ghent, and I've heard Bruges is like amazing. If you went through like little villages in Belgium and it was sunny and you met like all these great locals, I'm sure you would have had a great time. There's a reason there's no F tier. I don't hate any of these countries. There's no country that I'm like, I absolutely despise my time there. I would never go back. It was overwhelmingly bad. But Brussels, very dirty city. There's another country that I'm going to get to here in Europe that I shared a lot of this same sentiment, but there's like random people like throwing up on the side of the street. It's dirty. It's kind of grimy. There's not a lot to do. I don't know. I didn't have Brussels. Like you're not on the water. Like I had a thoroughly like a bad experience there. Not because anything happened in particular. It was just not great. Sorry, D tier. France. This is like up to this point probably the hardest country to rank. It's gonna go in B tier. I've only been to Paris, so I really am hesitant to like expand on why I've placed it here. The Parisians as people are I have mixed feelings about Parisians, like, and honestly kind of the French in general. I think they're very entitled. If you've traveled, the French have like this superiority complex that I've never seen before. But I've also had some great experiences with the French. Like nonetheless, like a lot of those people who have that kind of superiority complex to them are still super fun to go out with, nice people, super friendly. I actually love the French humor. They're like pretty witty and kind of dry, but like honest. And I think that's kind of funny. Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's a pretty popular American opinion to hate Parisians, to hate Paris, to think it's like dirty and grimy and smelly. Yeah, like it is in parts, but okay, I love Barcelona, so is Barcelona. There's plenty of cities that like are dirty. That I don't think that's a great metric to completely define a place by. France, Paris at least, has some of the best architecture in the entire world. It's full of art, full of history, good food. I thoroughly like my time in Paris. You have to take a city for what it is, and that's what Paris is known for. So I had a good time there. I need to get to the south of France. I need to get through. France is huge. Like cities like Dijon, is it Lyon or Lyon? I don't know. But I need to do a lot more exploring in France before I can place it anywhere else but B. The Netherlands. I'm gonna go A tier. I love the Netherlands. The Netherlands is high on my list for a Western European country. You're gonna see I favor Eastern Europe a lot more. It fits my vibe a little more. But the Netherlands is a great country. I was in Amsterdam for 3 or 4 days. I went to Haarlem, which is like a city just outside of Amsterdam. And my one complaint with the Netherlands is it's so expensive. Amsterdam, I think, Switzerland's right there too, but I think Amsterdam's the most expensive city I've ever been to, just strictly because of how expensive the hostels were. I was going like 2 weeks prior to King's Day, which if you don't know is like this huge day of festival in the Netherlands. It's like basically a celebration of the country. And I was there like 2 weeks prior. I wasn't even there like the week or the weekend of whatever it was. And hostels, no joke, were like $120 for a bunk bed. I'm like, it wouldn't have been S tier anyways, and I don't think price should be a determining factor on how good a country is. Like, that's not a very good metric, again, for how much fun you can have in a country, how enjoyable a country is. But solid A tier. I was going to rent a bicycle and drive it around the Netherlands, go see the tulip fields, and maybe go see like the Hague. Pronunciation's terrible. Stay with me. But yeah, I never got down there because the bike was like $25 to rent for the day. And I was like, you're out of your mind. I've already spent $150 to stay here. So, but it's A tier, super friendly people. Some of my favorite people I've met abroad are Dutch. The Dutch travel as well as literally anyone in the world. It's insane. I think it's a country of like 15 to 16 million people. And I don't care where you go. I don't care how small the town is. I don't care how big the city is. You're going to run into a Dutchie. It is just going to happen. They're, in my opinion, the most well-traveled people. They're super fun. Some of my best friends traveling, some of the coolest people I've met have been Dutch. So I love the Netherlands, A tier. Norway, hard one to rank. I've only been to Oslo. I was only there for like 24 hours. And I know people are going to be like, how dare you even rank it? Listen, I don't travel like probably most of the people commenting those types of things. If I'm there for 24 hours, I'm awake for probably 20 to 24 of those hours, walking 10 to 15 miles, exploring like 10 to 15 different things, eating at 3 different restaurants, talking to a million different people. I go out, I get after it. And I know it's still probably not a good gauge. You need to really spend some time there to have a true formulated opinion. And I admit that. But nonetheless, I'm going to rank it. And I'm going to admit that similar to France, similar to the UK, I've only been to a city, so it's hard to rank. But I don't know. Norway, I had a pretty good time in. I would say for my experience there, it's definitely not C tier. It's probably low B tier. Oslo was kind of like a nothing burger city to me. Not a lot going on. The fjords were amazing. And holy shit. If you ever want to feel unattractive, go to Norway. Go to the fjords on a beach on a sunny day in Norway. When I'm in America, I never think about I'm like 5'10", 5 feet, 10 inches. I think that's like 178 centimeters, something like that. When I'm in the States, I never think about my height. I'm like average height. Like pretty much all my friends are between 5'8" and 6'1". So I'm right in the kind of the middle of the standard deviation. You go to Norway. And matter of fact, go to the Netherlands. Yeah, 5'10", I might as well be Kevin Hart walking around. Like there's all of these men, they're like incredibly muscular. The women are tall. Everyone's attractive. They're all tall. They're fit. And I was like, wow, like I'm out of place here. So congrats, Norway, on having very attractive people. But yeah, B tier. It was really expensive too. I would go back. I really would like to see the mountains. I've heard great things. All right, Slovenia. This is the most underrated country that no, I'm sorry. There's a country that's more underrated. I'll get there. This is the most underrated country in Europe. I heard a lot of people saying, oh, everyone loves Slovenia. If you've been to Slovenia, you love it. Not a lot of people go to Slovenia, especially if you're American, like, Western. People are going to Spain. They're going to Portugal. They're going to the UK. They're going to France. They're going to Germany. Not a lot of people are spending time going to Slovenia. You should change that. If you're going to Venice, you're going to Munich, carve out a few days to go to Slovenia. It is unreal. Ljubljana is probably my favorite capital in all of Europe. Socha Valley, I'd never heard of it before I went. I think it's not I always forget the name of the Alps up there. Julian Alps. The Julian Alps in Slovenia are unreal. Some of the best mountains I've ever seen. I've done extensive trips through the Rockies and a ton of the Andes, like a ton of mountain ranges. The Julian Alps are some of the best. Super friendly people. Amazing experience in Slovenia. I can't put it in S because it's too small of a country, but it is the top of A tier. Up to this point, it's the best country that I have been to with up to this point of ranking, that is. Slovenia, can't wait to go back. Amazing for like a million different reasons. Great to explore. I was hitchhiking through Slovenia from Ljubljana up through Socha Valley into Italy. Such a good time. It's like probably a great place for a romantic vacation too. Great wine. It's cheaper than most of its neighboring countries, at least to the west. Great time in Slovenia. Can't wait to go back. Italy, first S tier country, Italy. Unreal. Unreal. Italy is everything. It's literally it has everything. Lake Como, one of my favorite places on planet Earth. I've been on kind of two different vibed trips, like one like a more relaxed vacation, like going kind of slow, and then I hitchhiked through northern Italy. Lake Como's unreal. You want to talk about romantic, talk about like Romeo and Juliet-esque. I could live there. I could go retire there and be happy for the rest of my life. Tuscany, same thing. You're driving through all these beautiful Italian vineyards. Oh my goodness. Arezzo, beautiful small little city in the middle of Italy. If anything, and listen, to all the Italians listening, don't get mad when I'm about to say this, because you're sitting pretty in S tier. But Rome was actually my least favorite part about Italy. It was an okay time, but everywhere else, like the Amalfi Coast, unbelievable. The Dolomites, I hitchhiked. Venice, I think, is overhated. It is what it is. It's not like the best city by any means, but it's definitely overhated. What else? We've got the Dolomites, my favorite mountain range in the world. I think it's the most beautiful, most panoramic mountain range that I've ever been to personally. Super friendly people. I love the Italians. I love their humor. I love their vibe. They're super fun. They're funny. S tier, Italy, unreal. Like one of those countries you leave, I'm like, I'm gonna retire here. Unreal. The Vatican, it's gonna go in D tier. Like it's kind of all right. Belgium, I actually had a good time in Ghent, so the Vatican can go D tier. I don't think anyone's gonna really argue this. It was cool for what it is, but it's literally like what, 1 square kilometer max in these walls. Cool history in there, obviously, like, the Pope and everything. It's cool to see. That's about it. Like, why would I ever go back? It's D tier. It was fine. Germany is going to go... See, now I need to get selective with B tier. I'm going to start placing these like where they belong in B tier. I had a good time in Germany. I was in Bavaria through Füssen, which is like on the border with Austria, and then up to Munich for Springfest. Great time. I'm actually going to put Germany for now. I had a better time in Germany than Bosnia. Did I? Than Greece? Probably not. It's going to go there. Germany's good. Again, I love the German people. I met some great German people on my travels, as a matter of fact. I hiked insane volcano in Tanzania with an awesome German guy. I've met some super cool German people on the road, even in Munich, like super friendly, showing us around the city. Overwhelmingly like a pretty positive experience in Germany, but just not quite, didn't quite evoke what a lot of these other countries have. To be a S tier, you kind of have to have it all. Like outside of, yes, Hungary, a little bit of a different circumstance, but like Slovenia and Italy, natural beauty, good food, affordable, incredibly friendly people, basically flawless. Germany, it was a good time, but would I go back? Maybe to Berlin. A lot of the Germans that I talked to were like, don't go to Berlin. You don't need to. Big history buff. I do want to go. I want to see the wall. I want to see a lot of the remnants of like World War II and see it for myself. But I've heard underwhelming things about Berlin, so who knows? Maybe it would go down. But for now, it's solid middle of B tier. Austria's like okay. Was in Innsbruck, like Telfs. I didn't see a ton of Austria. It's better than Serbia. Yeah. I'll put it here. It was okay. Little too touristy for me. Innsbruck was like way more touristy than I thought. Beautiful river running through the town. It's just not my vibe. Like objectively, I can admit, like Austria, Switzerland, a lot of that kind of Central European region with the true Alps, like you're getting deep in the Alps at that point. It is beautiful. It's objectively beautiful, but it's just not what I look for when I'm traveling. It was good. Would I go back? Is it like high on my list? No. So I'm going to put it in B tier. Spain's unreal. I'm going to put it in, I also got to rearrange A a little bit. I'm going to go here. Spain, not quite as good as Slovenia to me. No, I gotta take that back. That came out of my mouth. I'm taking that back. Beaches, okay. I'm like, I'm going to preface this right now. If you have crazy beaches, like, you are exponentially a better country. I don't even care what else. Like, you can have some flaws if you have crazy beaches. Like Barcelona smells like shit. It's probably the worst smelling city that I've ever been to. It smells like shit on every corner, and there's quite literally shit on every corner. But I like look past it. I would just like walk over the shit, walk through the shit, because I'm like, there's beautiful beaches like 10 minutes away. And any tan that I have left is because I was in Spain, in Mallorca, and Barcelona for like 2 weeks. Spain, A tier for me is like high A tiers. Like, could I like potentially move here for a little bit? Yes. I was in Barcelona. It's my favorite city in Western Europe. I'm like, yeah, I could move here. So yeah, Spain gets A tier. Portugal, I got to start moving a little quicker. Portugal, remember when I was talking about Brussels, and I was like, there was one other city in Europe that I had like very underwhelming experience in. That was Lisbon. Lisbon was not great, to be honest. I felt a lot of the same sentiments that I had in Brussels. Just like, people are throwing up like these drunks at like 11 a.m. Why are you throwing up on the side of the street? Like, there's like a bunch of people at the immigration office, like drunk, stumbling around. I'm like, this is like, what is going on here? Where is the police presence to collectively be like, you can't do that in the street in a touristy city where everyone's walking around? Lisbon redeemed itself a little bit at the end, and Portugal is really tough to rank, because I'm going to have Portuguese people in here like, that is not a fair assessment of Lisbon. You were only there for like a day, and Porto, and I know. That's why I'm probably going to put it in like, I'll probably put it in like C tier, but don't take that too personally, because I'm sure I could go up and down the Portuguese coast and have the time of my life. I'm sure there's a bunch of small villages and towns. I would go back. It's a country, so based on my criteria, it's not really fair to put it in C. I'll put it here. But just know, like, I had a shitty time in Lisbon. I'll be honest. A lot kind of went wrong. It's the worst blend for a city, in my opinion, is a city with, like, overwhelming, like, homeless people, like, what seems to be drug problems at least, like, or drunk problems. Just dirty, kind of grimy in the wrong areas. And then when you go to the nice part, like, you can't escape the tourist traps. You have like the Senegalese, Congolese guys selling you the trinkets, and when you don't want to buy it, they yell at you. And I'm literally in real time. I have a video of me watching a guy does the classic, puts a little bracelet on the lady. Like, no. I fell for that scam when I was 15 years old in New York once. That's the only time I'll fall for that one. He's like, oh, beautiful. It's a gift. She's like, oh my God, thank you. Walks away 3 seconds later. He's like, give me money. That's like the worst combo for a city. Like, now you have all of these tourist traps in the nicest part of the city. I'm sorry, like, I didn't have a great time there. I met some really cool Canadian people there. They bought me lunch at an awesome sandwich shop. What's it called? Bifana. Really good Portuguese sandwich. But I know I have a lot more to explore. It's going in C tier. I didn't have a great time in Lisbon. All right, Switzerland. Switzerland is A tier. It's A tier. And I know, like, what I just said about Austria. I'm sorry, Netherlands. Honestly, I'm sorry, Hungary. I had such a good time in Switzerland. This was the first time that I like stayed with a follower. Shout out my boy Giannis, the literal GOAT. This kid texted me. I threw something up on my story. I'm like, I'm heading into Switzerland. This kid DMs me. He's like, hey, like, would you be open to staying with me and my family in the north of Switzerland? Had the time of our lives. He is the man. I've always said this about European, like, to me, 18 is like I'm 23. I have a brother who's 20, brother who's 18. At 18 years old, like, I was not ambitious. I was like not doing much other than probably like playing Fortnite and like going to football practice, coming home and like eating junk food. I think the European kids grow up like so much quicker. I don't know if it's because they drink at a younger age or they just get thrown to the fire. In Switzerland, you're not really getting thrown to the fire by any means. But like he's so mature. Like Giannis, like I could hang out with this guy like he was my boy from college. Like such a mature kid. Had such a good time. Brought us cliff jumping to this insane lookout spot in Switzerland. Switzerland has a special place in my heart because of the experiences I had there. Such an overwhelmingly good time. Super expensive, and I know I just kind of hated on Austria for like it's not quite my vibe. This is what I mean about travel subjective. We were in Solothurn, which is kind of like northern Switzerland, and I had a great time because I got to live kind of the experience, like the local experience. So it's going to be higher on the list. Say what you want. Love Switzerland. Will be going back. Will be going back. Iceland. Iceland's an interesting one. I'm tempted to put Iceland. I'm gonna put Iceland right behind Mexico. This actually feels like the perfect spot for it. Mexico to me is just like they're like quite literally the opposite, and this is quite literally proving why I prioritize beaches over mountains. But Iceland's unbelievable. Iceland's a place that I don't think you need more than a week in. I did a week. We did the entire, I think they call it like the Golden Circle. We drove the entire loop, and Iceland is like unbelievable for the first 2 or 3 days. But after that, it's like, how many waterfalls can I see? How many like unreal kind of like rock formations can I see? Because it's very similar. All of Iceland is very similar. You have, it's cold. We went in August. So it was pretty cool to see the sunset at like 11:30. But it's very similar. It is stunning. It's one of the most beautiful countries in the world, but it's not diverse enough to get anything. But I can't put it in A. It's just not diverse enough. I would never live there. Would I even go back? Probably not, but I had a great time while I was there. We maybe stayed a couple days too long, but you got to do Iceland at least for a few days. Unbelievable. Super unique kind of environment there. Okay, we are back. It's Mother's Day, so I took my wonderful mother out for lunch, but we're back, and we are now in South America. We just finished up Europe. South America, I had an amazing time in South America. So when I started this 4-month journey where I did the 26 countries, I actually flew into Colombia. South America was the first leg of this journey. I was there for a little over about a month, and I had a wonderful experience in almost each country. So let's start in Colombia. Colombia is very similar, and I'll get to Thailand in a little bit, but Colombia and Thailand remind me a lot of each other in the sense that as an American, when you go, it feels raw. Like it is raw travel. It's like a culture shock. It's quite a bit different. Colombia being much more naturally South America just being more dangerous than Southeast Asia, but in general, it's a really good blend, and I think South America parts, Peru, Colombia, even Ecuador, Argentina, Brazil, and Southeast Asia, Thailand, Vietnam, have this big advantage to them if you're beginning your traveling journeys. And that's that they do feel raw, but they're well built for the tourism that they receive. Like, these are not countries in the middle of Africa that don't see tourists ever, that have, you have real safety concerns, or you have, you can't find a restaurant, you can't communicate. These people, especially in South America, like they see Colombia, they see a ton of tourists, but it feels authentic. So I think it's a really good blend. Colombia for me is going to go right behind Switzerland. It's a great country. I had an amazing time. Super, super friendly people. The food, kind of meh. I think I over-exaggerated how dangerous it is. And again, case to case, because I'm going to get into something. I did have a run-in a different country in South America that we'll get to. But I had no negative experiences. I was seeing all of this propaganda online, like, oh, be careful. I literally packed a decoy wallet because of all the things I heard about, like getting robbed at gunpoint in Colombia. But I had an amazing time. Cartagena, a little bit of a dirty city up on the northern coast by the beaches, but great experience there. We're playing like soccer with the locals, football with the locals. It's very cheap. Medellin, awesome city, like great city to be a digital nomad in, I'm sure. Great nightlife. And then Bogota, I feel like it's pretty underrated. Bogota, you've got Medellin, Cartagena, those are the cities that people are primarily traveling to. I thought Bogota, the capital, was beautiful as well. Great artwork. I have nothing but good things to say about Colombia. It's just not quite S tier. That's reserved for the elites. Ecuador. I am a big Ecuador fan. Big, big, big Ecuador fan. I'm putting it top of B. And I don't know where most people that have been to, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 countries, Ecuador happens to be one of them. I would guess they'd probably have Ecuador in like maybe C tier. I loved Ecuador. Maybe it's because I stayed with some family friends down in Cuenca, which is an unbelievably beautiful city in southern Ecuador. Quito, kind of meh, but Latacunga, it's a town up in the Andes Mountains. That's where I got food poisoning. That was the only negative experience I had in Ecuador. Nonetheless, the food was great while I was eating it. Ecuador's amazing. It's kind of everything I like in a country. It is very forgotten about because everyone goes to Colombia for the parties, for the fun, for the beaches. Then they skip right down to Peru for the mountains, leaving Ecuador kind of in the middle. And it is a must do. There's no good reason to skip Ecuador. It's a relatively small country. It's not that small, but it's a relatively small country compared to Colombia, obviously, or Peru there. I was at Quilatoa, which is basically like their version of Crater Lake. It's a, massive crater lake we have here in the States. It's absolutely beautiful. There was like nobody there. Cotopaxi is a beautiful volcano that I didn't peak, but I hiked up quite a bit too. Friendly locals, amazing people, amazing time. Ecuador, high B tier. It is officially my favorite country in B tier. Argentina, I have mixed feelings about Argentina. I had a better time in Argentina than I did. This is crazy. I'm going to put it behind Bosnia. People are going to be like, you're out of your mind with this tier ranking. That's why it's my tier ranking. Argentina, it was tough. It's tough to rank because I don't want to say it let me down. Buenos Aires is a nice city. In a lot of ways, it actually reminded me of like New York. There's a strip in Buenos Aires and kind of like the middle of the city, if I'm remembering correctly, where there's like all these theaters and shows. And it reminds me of almost of like Broadway in New York. It's really nice. Some good dulce de leche, the choripan. The choripan sandwich is one of my favorite like quick, fast eats that I had on all my travels. And the people were friendly, don't get me wrong. I will say there was some anti-American propaganda kind of on the walls. That was interesting. I didn't know about that till I saw it. And at the time, my hair was dyed. I had a bleached buzz cut, so I just say, soy Germano. I'm German. Like, not a Yankee, no Yankee around here. So I didn't know that, but like Argentina was okay. It's tough to put it any higher than this because I like Colombia a lot more. The cities in Colombia, I think at least Medellin was better. Buenos Aires is probably better than the other two respectively, but Colombia just has three amazing cities. And if I were to go to Mendoza or Rosario in Argentina, I would probably have had a good time, and Iguazu Falls. I just didn't see enough of it, so it kind of has to land in the middle of B tier. I had a good experience in Buenos Aires. Would I go back? Under the right circumstances, probably. Uruguay, Uruguay is going to go here. This is actually perfect. Uruguay is going to go right next to Montenegro. Everything I said about Montenegro applies to Uruguay. I don't have much to say about it. I went, I saw, it was good, it wasn't great. Would I go back? No. The beaches were nice. The UV was like 15. It was unbelievable when I was there. I don't think I have much reason to go back. It's the most expensive country in South America. It's small. You can take a ferry over from Buenos Aires. I would go to Montevideo. I'm sure it's probably like a cool place to retire if, you're trying to retire somewhere with beautiful weather. Other than that, I don't think I have much of a reason to go back. Brazil. I love Brazil. Brazil probably, all right, I'm going to preface this. Brazil probably is an S tier country. I'm not going to put it in S tier. I'm going to put it, as a matter of fact, I'm going to put it right behind Spain in A tier. And I'm not going to get into this story. This is all I'm going to say because you're going to have to tune in for the next episode on my nightmare travel stories. But I got robbed at gunpoint in Rio. And you're going to think I'm crazy, but that doesn't really knock it down much. Nothing happened. I'm still here to tell you the story about it. But let's get into Brazil. I was in Rio for like 5 days and then Sao Paulo for a day. And Brazil is just unreal. I'm not even joking. It's like magnetic. When you get off that flight, it's like, cha, cha, cha. It was like 11 p.m. when I got off. And it's like, you can just feel the vibe. I swear, there's like not even music playing. But it's like, in Brazil, there's like always music playing. So I get off the plane, it's like, you can like almost hear it. It's like a faint, and not really, but I swear, there's something in the air there. You're like, cha, cha, cha. And you get closer. And by the time you're in like, I stayed in this wonderful neighborhood, Santa Teresa. But by the time you're like on Copacabana Beach or Ipanema, like, it's just unreal. Rio is one of the best cities in the world. There's nothing like it. I've never been to a city like Rio. I don't think you can replicate it. I think Brazil probably is an S tier. I can't put it there personally. Haven't seen enough of it. Would love to go to the Amazonas, to Salvador. Brazil is massive, a massive country. So there's so much more I need to explore. Sao Paulo was actually really beautiful. Remind me, again, kind of New York in a few ways. Brazil, A tier. What a country. Will definitely be going back. All right, Singapore. Singapore is an interesting one. So before I went on the 4-month trip, I regarded Singapore is actually the only city, country that I can think of off the top of my head that has gotten worse in my mind over time. And it's not really its fault at all. It's more just experiencing more fun cities. Singapore was always high on my list because of how clean, how green it is, how well put together it is. It's a beautiful city, but I don't want to say soulless, but it doesn't have that energy. And I really am attracted to the energy in a city. Rio, for example, like I can look away at the fact that I got robbed my last day in Rio at gunpoint because every day before that was just unbelievable. And honestly, like after I got robbed, I was like, I went down to Sao Paulo on a bus and I was like, whatever. Like I'm here to tell the story now. Like whatever. Some people are going to look at this and be like, automatic F tier. I'm never going. It's my tier list. Take it for what it is. I'm completely transparent and honest. And another reason that I really never talked about the bad side of travel through my videos is I'm very hesitant to do it because as someone, I don't have a big following by any means, but I never want to be the reason that someone doesn't go to a country because I tell a story of something that happened to me because quite frankly, the example of me getting robbed is completely my fault. I was being an idiot and we'll talk about it in the next episode, but like, don't let an experience like that be the reason that you don't go somewhere. Brazil is unreal. I'm still talking about Brazil. I'm on Singapore. Let's talk about Singapore. Singapore has gotten worse over time in my mind. It's not its fault. I've just been to so many cities with more vibrance and just more soul to them that Singapore just doesn't scratch the itch. Honestly, when I left, if you would have asked me, would you go back? The answer was probably no then, but I regarded it incredibly highly. Would I go back now? Like almost certainly not. And compared to some of the other experiences I've had, and Singapore, it's so tiny. It's one of the smallest countries in the world. I'll put it in B though, because when I was there, I had a good time for what it was. It is the cleanest and greenest city in the whole world. I'm convinced. Let's see. Singapore, I had a better time there than Paris, but objectively France is going to be a better country, as is Norway, and honestly, as is Portugal. It can sit right at the bottom of B tier. That feels right. Malaysia. Malaysia. Cheapest country I've probably ever been to, maybe outside of India. Malaysia, I don't know. Kuala Lumpur, for some reason, I have this weird thing. Like, it'll be the most random city in the world, but for some reason, I like hype it up a ton. Kuala Lumpur happened to be one of these. And I went, and it was just kind of dirty. It was a little underwhelming. We stayed there for like 4 days. Bit underwhelming. I haven't been to the other part of Malaysia because Malaysia is separated into two. I haven't been to the other part, only the portion that Kuala Lumpur is on, and we drove a bus kind of up through into Thailand. From there, it's okay. The people are friendly. The food is horrible. I'm sorry. The Malaysian cuisine, I think, is there's some countries in Africa that are pretty bad, but Malaysia's bad. Malaysia has bad food. Me and my buddy went in January a couple of years ago, and I'll never forget, the restaurant was so cheap. We basically just had a buffet, and they had instead of bread, they had hard-boiled eggs on the table. It was kind of funny. We ordered the whole menu. Bill comes around, it's $15 between the two of us. I'm not even joking. Everything's $1. So we each order 5 or 6 things for $1 a pop. We're living luxuriously, but I just remember trying everything and it was so ass. It got progressively worse that we didn't eat any of it because it all sucked. There was a burger, and I remember we saw a little mouse or rat, it was tiny, probably a mouse, scurry across the restaurant at we're up at 5:30 a.m. for whatever reason. And I'll never forget the burger. We bit into the burger and it didn't look like beef. It definitely wasn't beef. And we were I'm pretty sure that a rat probably ran across the restaurant floor 30 minutes prior. They picked it up and threw it on the pan, and we're eating a rat's ass burger. That's about all I remember Malaysia from. It's going to go in C tier. It's going to... there was more to do there than Uruguay, but Uruguay had nice beaches at least. Yeah, it's going to go to the bottom of C. Yeah, feels right. Thailand. Thailand's going to go right next to Colombia. And for me personally, Thailand is going to go above Colombia. It's cheaper. The beaches are nicer. It's safer. It reminds me, those two are like long lost cousins to me. I don't know. There's just a lot about them. They're very different, but they share a lot of similar characteristics in the way that I view them in terms of like, what to do and how they're well built for tourism. But they also, I was talking about that, how they feel raw at the same time. Thailand's great. It's maybe a tad overrated. And I'm saying this while it's sitting in A tier, but you have people who go to Thailand every single year. I actually liked Bali more than anywhere in Thailand, but Thailand is, to be an A and S tier country, you have to have layers to you. And Thailand does. We did Bangkok, great city. It's chaotic, but it's a great city. Then we went over to the islands and Phuket, the dirtiest beaches I've ever seen in my life, but we were there on Lunar New Year's, I think. And that's right? Lunar New Year's? I don't know. I've been to so many countries now that I'm like, who celebrates what holiday? But I think it's Lunar New Year's down there, and like the full moon party and stuff on the beach. There were crazy DJs. I was on the beach, whatever, I don't know, maybe it's 2 or 3 a.m. and I jumped in the water and I like got like my face wrapped around like trash bags, and there was like shit hitting me, and there's like people having sex in the water. Thailand is like a grimy, at least Phuket's like a grimy place. But it's fun, like for the DJs, and the streets are crowded, and everyone's got face paint, whatever. Fun enough clubs. And then we shot up north to Chiang Mai. Also, the PP Islands, super, super fun. And then we shot up to Chiang Mai, and Chiang Mai's unbelievable. We did like an elephant sanctuary tour, a tiger sanctuary, like visit, not much of a tour. That was crazy, getting kicked in the back of the head by a tiger tail. I literally thought that was like a knockout. You could get knocked out by that. I'm 100% confident. After feeling the strength of that, I'm like, these things are, yeah, talk about the last animal I'd ever want to see in the wild. Probably a tiger. I'd give it my neck instantly. Chiang Mai was really cool though. When I say the word digital nomad, like someone who goes off and lives in another country and does a remote job or online work, you see a lot of those in Chiang Mai, and it's for a reason. It's becoming a little more popular, I believe. We were there a couple years ago, and I've heard from people it's getting even more popular. Still a great spot, though. Thailand has so many great spots. That's why it's an A tier. All right, Indonesia. I just told you, Bali is my favorite place in Southeast Asia. Well, I didn't quite say that, but now I'm saying it is my favorite place in Southeast Asia. Uluwatu. I think Uluwatu is actually heaven on earth. Like, you can wake up in the morning, you just went to the club till 3 a.m., you're hungover, but it's okay. Because you can wake up, you can go get on your moped that you're renting for $5 a day. You can go get some nasi goreng, some $1 noodles. Then you can ride down, rent a surfboard, or just bring your board if you live down there. Surf all day, go on a run, go to the gym, come back, eat some more good food, lay in the sun for a bit, and you feel better than you ever have. I grew up in right outside of Boston. On a day, my most hungover day, 10 hours later in Bali, I feel better than my best day I've ever had in Boston. There's something in the air over there. And I know people are like, oh, all the digital nomads are taking it over. You can still find pockets that feel like Bali. Like, we took mopeds up to Ubud. That's more of a kind of like more naturally beautiful part of Bali. And then Canggu, which is like fucking chaos on earth, clubbing in Bali. But I love Bali. I can't, Indonesia, I can't. It's a country of literally 200 something million people at this point. Jakarta is officially, I believe, the most populated city in the entire world when we include Metropolis. So I can't go put Indonesia in A tier because I liked Bali. I'm going to put it in high B tier though, because I had such a good experience in Bali. Bali's a place, I'm not even joking, I could live there. So I definitely better than Argentina, better than Bosnia, better than a lot of these. I'll put it right behind Iceland for now because I haven't seen enough of it. But if I had a good experience in I want to go see Java. Java is the most populated island on the world, I believe. On Earth, I believe. There's so much more I have to see in Indonesia. So for now, that feels right. Vietnam's kind of tough. I didn't see enough of it again. We were only in the north, so I did Hanoi, the Ha Giang Loop. I want to see Da Nang, which is kind of in the middle of Vietnam, and then Ho Chi Minh, formerly Saigon. Yeah, wow, that slipped my mind for a second. But I do need to see South Vietnam. Popular trip is to take motorcycles like up the entire length of the country. For now, I had a great time on the Ha Giang Loop. Some of the friendliest people. I've actually heard the opposite from a lot of these videos, that people think Vietnamese people are a bit cold. I had a great experience. So for that reason, they're going to go in... Was it better than Ecuador? No. Was it better than Mexico? Probably not. You know what? It's going to go right here for now. High B tier. Great country. I would definitely go back. And the number one thing I need to do in Vietnam, I don't care. I've seen too many videos of it online, is that Mario Kart. Like that. If any of you have ever seen that, that is the craziest shit I've ever seen. There's no way that, like, how the fuck... The American brain cannot perceive this. If you haven't seen the videos... There is a place, I believe, up near Ha Long Bay in Vietnam where you can just get in a go-kart and ride a Mario Kart like course, essentially, with other go-karters. But there's videos of people like flying off the course. Keep in mind the course is like, there's these little guardrails, but there's portions where you can like fly off into the woods. Like if you go over, you're falling multiple feet with a go-kart. I don't know. It seems like lawsuit central, but then again, we're in Southeast Asia. We're not in America. So got to do that. China is probably up to this point the hardest country to rank. And I've spent about 24 hours in Hong Kong, 24 hours in Shanghai, and China literally, like, I can barely even say I've been. There is so much more I need to do. Whether you pronounce it Chongying, if you've seen it online, it is like Cyberpunk City. I've been dying to go there. I was supposed to go there from Bali for 8 days. I was going to go to We're going to go with Chongqing for now. Chongqing, Beijing, Shanghai, Hangzhou. And it got completely disrupted because AirAsia, worst airline ever, put me on the wrong flight. AirAsia, if you're watching this, fuck you. You suck. You're F tier. You are actually the only F tier that is in this video. AirAsia, you're F tier. Anyways, China's such a hard one to rank. It's really, really tough for me to rank. I'm going to put it in, I did have a good time. If you're Chinese, you're watching this video, don't take this personally. I'm just putting it kind of like, that's the first one I'm just kind of throwing in the middle of B tier. It's really hard for me to rank. I had a great time in Hong Kong. Shanghai was a little bit underwhelming, but then again, it is a city of like, 25 million people practically. And I spent 24 hours there so to really even have an opinion is kind of unfair. So we're going to keep it there. I need to go back. South Korea. So South Korea is an interesting one. South Korea, I didn't go to Busan. I did not take the train to Busan. I spent 5 days in Seoul. And this was after I'd just done Japan with my dad, so I guess these should be flipped, but we're going to stick here. And I needed like some rest. I had been in Bali, I'd been partying a lot, I'd been go. I had almost no sleep, and I was not in the mood to keep moving, so I stayed in South Korea, and I had an amazing experience here. South Korea is going to be an A tier. I'm gonna say right behind. Ooh. See, after everything I just said about Thailand and Colombia together, I feel like they kind of have to stick. Did I like South Korea more or less? I liked them less. A little less. But it's A tier. It's great. South Korea's a great country. And so, yeah, amazing. I just come from Japan, and we're talking about Korea. I boxed a random, like, amateur boxer on the street in Seoul. South Korea, oh my gosh. You want to talk about the nicest clothing that I've literally ever seen. The more I'm thinking about, no, it's going to stay here. It's going to stay here. The vintage stores there, I went to South Korea. Japan, similar sentiment, but not as much. Osaka in Japan had a lot of great clothes, but Seoul, oh my gosh, I wish I had another suitcase. Literally, I was like, do I buy a suitcase, spend $1,000 on the coolest clothing I've ever seen and ship it back? And like, I'll save that for another trip. Great food, Korean barbecue, Korean food, some of my favorite food in the entire world. Super friendly people, great nightlife in Seoul. I'm a big sucker for that, the neon. Japan does it better than anywhere, but Seoul does a good job too. I'm a big sucker for like the bright neon lights deep into the night. There's just something about it. I'm like, I love it. What else did I do? I went up to the North Korean border. That was really, really cool. I walked like 6 miles. So it's called the DMZ, the Demilitarized Zone between South Korea and North Korea. And you're supposed to get a tour, but I was like, it's not really up my alley. So I took a train, then local buses up to like a drop-off point and walked like 6 miles up to, you can get basically to the gate at the DMZ. There's a few points, but you can basically get up to the gate where on the map you can see into North Korea. There wasn't much to see. It was like a camp. I think it was called like Camp Jervis, but it was like literally, it looked like a camping ground that was completely abandoned. You can kind of see into it. And I think that's kind of still on the South Korea side, but like literally through the trees right there is North Korea. South Korea was really fun. I had an amazing experience there. One of the nights went out, like did karaoke, was like shooting pellet guns. It adheres to tourists very well and keeps it authentic at the same time. Korea, solid A tier. We'll go back. All right. Japan. This is the easiest country to rank. I don't even have to explain. It's going in S tier, and whether Italy. All right, you know what? S tier. Everything else is ranked. Okay, so like Spain, all the way down to Poland, Ecuador, all the way down to Singapore. These are ranked. S tier, I can't rank them because they're such different vibes. People will ask me, what's your favorite country? And there's at least one more coming into S tier. And I usually say these three that we're going to find out what it is. But these three, and all for different reasons. I told you Italy, Japan on the other end. Oh my gosh. Like I could go on and on about Japan. You know, when you meet someone that has gone to Japan, you've never heard someone say anything bad about Japan. I know that you haven't because no one has, because there's nothing really bad to say about it at all. When have you ever met someone who went to Japan who said anything negative about it? Japan was the first country that on this 4-month trip that I took, that I was genuinely like, my heart kind of sank when I left. I was truly sad. Everything about it is flawless. 7-Elevens, Family Marts, Lawson's that are open 24/7. I compare those places to Marshall's. If you're from the States, you know what Marshall's Home Goods is. Everyone goes into Marshall's and it's cheap. It's like H&M. It's dirt cheap. So you go in and you're like, oh, like I'm not going to spend that much money because everything's so cheap. And then they ring it up and you're like, 100? How did I spend $100? And it's because you bought like 10 things because you thought everything was cheap. That's Family Mart, and that's like the 7-Elevens in Japan. Everything is cheap. Japan is surprisingly very cheap. I thought it'd be more expensive. But I go in, I'm like, I'll take an egg salad sandwich, and I'll take a bento box, and I'll take a protein drink, and I'll take they have these insane alcoholic drinks there. They're like, I think they're 7%. No, closer to like probably 17%. They probably scratched the one off. Those are killer. And then I'm like, oh, let me get a pudding and a pastry and everything. And I want to try everything because they have everything. So I end up spending like $20 every single day at the 7-Eleven. And I didn't even eat out that much because they have everything there. The transportation is unreal. The Japanese conductors will apologize to you if the train is like 10 seconds late. If it's 30 seconds late, it's like people are looking at their watches. They're like, what is going on? I compare Tokyo to Japan. Wow. I compare Tokyo to Japan. Compare Tokyo to New York in a lot of ways. And I love New York. I truly love New York. But it is New York optimized. Everything that's bad about New York is perfect in Japan. New York's great, but it's dirty. The public transport's a little unreliable. It can feel unsafe at times. You know, there's like there are a ton of crackheads in certain neighborhoods in New York. Japan, like, it's like you just fix that. Tokyo, keep in mind, I think at this point, Tokyo is the third most populated city in the world. It is the second cleanest city I think I've ever been to outside of Singapore. And there's 35 million people that live there. Japan is unreal. We went to Osaka. I think Osaka is probably the most overrated spot. Kyoto was unbelievable. Me and my dad went. It was my dad's like really first time out of the country outside of like Caribbean, and I think he'd been to Germany, and he loved it. Like, yeah, that's a big trip to go from Boston all the way to Japan, and he loved it. Like, by the time my dad was leaving, he was like, no more egg salad sandwiches together. Nagasaki was really cool. There's some great, and keep in mind, I want to preface this because I just said the word great. When I say words like great or cool, I should probably be saying words like interesting. Obviously, it is an absolute atrocity. Like, it's a very sensitive topic, the history of Nagasaki. As an American, we know, the Fat Man bomb, atomic bomb was dropped on Nagasaki. And I just want to preface and say, I have a tendency to just say amazing, cool, great when it was like an experience. If I felt like a big experience out of it, I tend to just, those are like default words. So by no means is the learning about the history great. It's insanely, it's insightful, and it's like, it changes you. I remember being in the museum and seeing the remnants of like some of the clothing worn during the bombing. And it just evokes an emotion out of you that you kind of remember forever. And then I don't have enough good things to say about Tokyo. I've been going for 5 minutes about Japan, so I'm going to cut myself after I say this one thing. But Golden Gai, it's one of my favorite experiences I've ever had in nightlife in the world. Golden Gai is this little portion of Tokyo where they have like dozens, I don't want to say hundreds, but it could be. It's at least dozens of little bars. And when I say little, I mean there's like 5 seats, rows of seats that you walk in, and it's like shoulder to shoulder like this. You sit down, you get a drink, you chat. It's like a very intimate space with there's locals, there's travelers. I met a great buddy that I actually met him in Rio. He's Danish, and we met up in Tokyo. We had a great night. We were drinking like rattlesnake whiskey. We met some other tourists, some Japanese guys. Japan's amazing. It is one of the only places I was on the plane. I was like, when do I get to go back? S tier for sure. Can't wait to go back. South Africa. Okay. South Africa. I'm going to put it in, that's not quite where I'm putting it. I'm going to put it, let's go here. Cape Town was the city that I was don't ask me why. Remember when I said that thing about Kuala Lumpur about, I get like weirdly fascinated with kind of random cities. Cape Town's quite less random than Kuala Lumpur, but I'd seen like the postcards and the videos of Lion's Head and Table Mountain and the beaches and everything, and I was like, this is the spot. Like, I don't know why I had this fixation of like, I'm going to learn how to surf here, and there's going to be this crazy pan of Table Mountain in the back, and I'm going to be like, I'm high on life. And that didn't quite happen, because if you've been to Camps Bay and what's the other beach down there? I'm not going to spend too much time trying to think about what it is, but Camps Bay is like the main beach down in Cape Town. The water is freezing. I don't even know how it gets that cold. I swear, like, I have good cold tolerance. Trust me. Like, I was in rivers in Slovenia. I've traveled throughout the US extensively through the West in like the months of April and May, cold plunge through like 40-degree water. And it was like, I can't stay in this long. I was in Camps Bay and I'm like, okay, dip. It's hot out. I'm dipping in. I'm getting out. And I'm like pink by the time I get out because it's so cold. Cape Town's beautiful though. Table Mountain is on. Those views are otherworldly. They really are. I did learn how to surf when I was in one of the beaches down there. Again, I'm just so bad at remembering. I've been to so many places. I forget the names. But it was this really cool beach. I rented a car and did the Cape of Good Hope, which is the southernmost point of Africa, but I'm pretty sure there's like a rock in the middle of the ocean that's technically it's like one of those tourist attractions that's like, is this actually even what they say it is? And I learned how to surf I was driving down, and there's this awesome beach. The water is warmer down there, where there's like all these multicolored houses. Muizenberg. I think it's called Muizenberg. And that was really cool. I had a great time in South Africa. I only did Cape Town. I met a kid down there who was from Durban, South Africa, and he was telling me about like that side of South Africa. You know, you have Kruger Park in the north. There's still so much, the Eastern Cape. There's so much I have to do that I haven't done. It's going to kind of, not nearly to the extent of China, but South Africa goes in the B tier of I would definitely go back. I had a good time. It wasn't like the best city in the world like I thought it was going to be. Cape Town, that is, but great time. Namibia. All right, Namibia. This isn't story time, so I'm going to keep these stories light, but Namibia was really good until someone broke into our house at 3 a.m. We had our home burglarized at 3 a.m., and that was the scariest moment of my entire life. Namibia would not have been an A tier, but it probably would have been, honestly, like somewhere around here. I'm going to bump it. It's not going to get bumped. I rank things so differently than I think most people would. Like, even though this was such a negative experience, I still had a lot of fun there, and I don't want to, like, discredit it. Namibia is probably pretty, nothing's objective here, but Namibia, if I were to see more of South Africa, I'm sure I would like South Africa more. So I'm probably only bumping it down a couple spots for that. Namibia is insanely beautiful. Insanely beautiful. You have the Skeleton Coast where the sand dunes meet the ocean. I've never seen anything like that in my life. Me and my same buddy, you know, that we got our home burglarized. We rented a car and we drove it like 40 miles down the beach, and there's like no one on the beach this far down. We're hitting like, we have a 4x4, luckily, but we're hitting like pockets of sand where it's like this car could get stuck and like we could be fucked, but it was all worth it in the end. The views were unbelievable. Etosha National Park is awesome because although it wasn't the best wildlife I saw in all of Africa, it was a unique experience because we got to drive the car ourselves. That's where I saw my first, you know, I didn't see all of the big four, but I saw a giraffe, saw elephant. I don't know if lion's considered big four. But we saw a lion. It was unbelievable. Like super, super cool experience. It felt like we were driving our own safari. We went ATVing, like sandboarding. And the only negative experience really was, it was that, getting burglarized. That was also just a tough month for me. I'd been going through things personally, and, you know, I'd gotten robbed at gunpoint in Rio. So it was a tough period, and I kind of thugged it out. And that's why, again, everything is subjective, like, right? Like I was going through some personal stuff, and so maybe I wasn't in quite the mental headspace that I would have like been on top of the world, but nonetheless, pretty high in B tier. Namibia was cool. I don't think I have a reason to go back, but I had a great time. Botswana. So I was in Kasane, and that is like, if you know where, so Namibia's got like a really interesting shape. It's kind of like, it doesn't really, it kind of looks like your hand if you flip it upside down, and then you like stick your thumb out like this. Like it has this long section called the Caprivi Strip. And I met one of my favorite experiences of all my travels was I met this guy online who had seen the channel when I was in Cape Town and shot me, great buddy of mine now, and shot me a message and was like, hey, me and my dad just did a motorcycle tour through South Africa. What are the odds that you want to come pick up? He flew home. What are the odds you want to come up, pick up the motorcycle, and we can ride him to Victoria Falls together? And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? That sounds like the coolest thing that I will ever do in my life. That is like, yes. So we started in Katima Falls. I think it was Katima Falls. Katima, Namibia, which is up in the Caprivi Strip. And that's a pretty desolate area. And we drove to Kasane. So I haven't seen a lot of Botswana. And I will say, this one day I had in Botswana was one of the best days of travel of my entire life. So as much as I want to put it, I'm gonna put it in like pretty solid B tier here. Greece, some more. All right, this feels right. This ranking right here, I'm gonna put it right between Greece and Germany. But just know that this day, like this was a fucking unreal day. So me and my buddy, we pull up to, I'll keep it like kind of here for what it was because I got my debit card eaten there. That was so inconvenient. We met a wonderful woman who hosted us in her house and helped me get my debit card back. The goats, there were two ladies actually. But sometimes I just ramble. I'm like, where am I even going with this? Oh, And the other problem with Botswana were the border people sucked. So we went from Namibia to Botswana, Botswana to Zambia. And on the Botswana side, they sucked. Like, they were the worst border control that we dealt with at all. They almost didn't let my buddy in because he got caught in a huge torrential downpour with his passport on him. Like, keep in mind, we're backpacking. Like, he's been riding motorcycles like thousands of kilometers, and they're giving him a tough time because his pages, they're fully intact, by the way. They're a little wrinkled because they have a little bit of water damage. And so we almost didn't get in. We ended up getting in, and it was one of the best days of travel. We're on the Chobe. It's called the Chobe River. It kind of just runs through Kasane. And we did like a $30 boat safari. It was the best safari that I think I'll ever do. I don't think anything can beat this. We go out on like a rinky-dinky ass boat we were on the boat with like a Libyan senator or something, like part of that, something regarding the embassy. I'm not even totally sure, but he was like big shit in Libya. And it's me and my buddy, and he's like my buddy's like a crazy photographer. So he's taking like insane shots of the elephants, crocodiles, hippos. There was everything. There's like hippos popping up like not that far from the boat. And if you know anything about wildlife, like I think hippos kill more people in Africa than any other animal outside of mosquitoes. So I'm like, holy shit, like we're in a rinky-dinky ass boat. Like this thing could probably bite the boat in half. I saw an elephant crossing the water. It was one of the coolest sights I've ever seen in my entire life. Nile crocodiles just chilling. And then this is where I was introduced to the best fucking drink in the world. I do not care what espresso martini, step aside. Savannah, step onto the podium. You are number one. It is this African, it's like a cider. I think it's like 6%, but it tastes like it's 0%. It's like sparkling apple, sparkling fruit. It's so good. I would just drink them casually. I'm not even joking. Like outside of getting drunk, any of that, it is like probably a top 3 drink I've ever had, and it has alcohol in it. If anyone that distributes, manufactures Savannah is listening to this, in the slim odds, I will be your number one ambassador. You want to talk about a sponsor, an ad, I will drink it everywhere. I will bring it to the States. I will put everyone onto that drink because I think that's one of those things you have and you're like, oh my gosh, it doesn't get better than that. And they're like, oh, it's a female drink. So are espresso martinis, and those are great. Savannahs, that was like the pinnacle of like my memories in Africa. Was like everything I was doing, I was also drinking at Savannah. Botswana feels good right here in B tier. We're going to go to Zambia. Zambia is a big country, and I just didn't see enough of it. I was in Lusaka actually for like 3 days, and kind of a weird place to be as long as I was. And there are going to be people in the comments like, 3 days in Lusaka? Like, you did spend 3 months and eat with my auntie to like even like have to even form the first opinion about Zambia. Listen, buddy, we're up early, we get out, we get after it. If I don't need 3 months in a place to determine if I'm going to enjoy it. So, to each their own. Zambia, I did not have as good of an experience. It was nothing bad. It just didn't evoke the same kind of excitement. It's not B tier. It's better than Malaysia. Malaysia was like pretty dog shit. I'll put it here. This feels like a proper spot, and I'm actually just gonna double down here. I'm gonna put Zimbabwe right next to it. No hard feelings. Zimbabwe is a smaller country. I'm sure that Zambia, if I explored them both to the fullest extent, I think Zambia probably would be better. But they're just not, I don't know. They're just not totally in my wheelhouse, like compared to the other African countries I'd been to prior. I preferred all of them, and then the ones that I went to after I also preferred. Victoria Falls was unbelievable. We drove the motorcycles up there, and one of the coolest shots I've ever taken in my life was stepping over like this barrier. And Victoria Falls, if you don't know, it's the biggest waterfall in the entire world, or the most powerful, or both. I think it's the most powerful because when you go up there, it might as well be raining. It was like a sunny day out in the middle of Victoria Falls, not a cloud in the sky. It might as well be torrential downpours. Because when you get within like 20, 30, probably even more meters than that, from the edge, you're getting hammered with mist. Keep in mind, it's like hundreds of feet to the bottom. And there's that much movement of water when you get to like the real falls, you're covered. There's a video of me, I'm like recording myself like, this is the craziest shit I've ever seen. And my phone is like getting fucked waterlogged, like destroyed. We stepped over the barrier and me and my buddy, it was just unreal. Like I just have this memory of us looking at each other and like, you know, when you just have that like moment where you just can't, your excitement just seeps through and you just almost start like laughing and you're like, not like crying, but you're like, oh my God, like this is like, what is happening? This is amazing. It was one of those moments. And I know, right? You're like looking at C tier and you're like, then put it higher. I gotta be honest, outside of that, like I didn't love Lusaka and Zambia. I don't know. The buses were always late, really like often delayed. The public transport in Africa, it is what it is. It's okay. Like, you know what you're getting yourself into. They don't pride themselves on that. That's not what you go to Africa for like great public transport, but it was pretty terrible. I don't know. And the food was really not good. I know like it's not a great metric, but it's part of it. Shima. So Shima is kind of like, if you've ever seen the videos of people, African people, you know, you kind of like pick up what almost looks like a rice pudding, kind of like mashed potato kind of look. You eat it with your hands. You're usually dipping it in like some sauces or some curries. It is not good, to be honest. It's not great. It doesn't taste like much. It's like not my favorite. So yeah, C tier feels about right for those two. Tanzania is gonna go. Yeah, it's gonna go. Ooh, I feel like this is a tough one. It's my favorite country in Africa. It is my favorite country in Africa. It's nicer than Iceland. I had more fun there than Iceland. Mexico. No, but there's Zanzibar, and I haven't been there, but like I know, like I'm about to put it behind Mexico because I'm like, it doesn't have beaches. Zanzibar, I've seen the videos. I haven't even done this yet. I know this isn't fair for me to be doing. Like, I haven't been to Zanzibar, so how can I put it here? It's going here. No, it's A tier. It's A tier. I'm looking at it now. It's A tier. If Poland, it's better than Poland. It's better than Hungary. Is it better than South Korea? No. That's my final placing. Tanzania, wow. You just shot up. You were like in the middle of B and like now you're in the middle of A. I love Tanzania. Talk about Hakuna Matata, Pole Pole, some of the friendliest people in the entire world. The Tanzanians, oh my goodness. So I remember, I have this distinct memory when I was in some time in college, maybe like a sophomore, junior, when I'm starting to like really want to travel. I saw this video and the guy's name was Ryan. I don't remember his last name, but he's made a very famous video on like the top 10 things to do in Tanzania. And there's this insane shot of him with a drone standing on this volcano called Oldonyo Lengai. And the drone flies over his head and he's like doing one of these with his arms spread. And the pano, I was like, oh my gosh. Like, I need to do that. Like, in that moment, I was like, I'm doing that. When I go to Tanzania, like, I don't even need to do Kilimanjaro. Maybe it's because I'm too broke. Kilimanjaro was like a couple bands to do. I was like, I can't afford that. I got a place to be. But I did it. I did Old Donyolan guy with that German guy that I was talking about earlier. And it was unreal. The most fucking aura photo I have of my life is, again, I was talking about my buddy that we rode motorcycles through Africa, great photographer. This guy, this German guy, buddy that I met, insane photographer. Like, I wish I had half the talent of these guys. Like, he took a few photos of me walking down, and I want to say you're at like 3,500 meters, but you go from like base. So like you're really climbing. And there were times the hike is from midnight to 6 a.m. And there were times where we're climbing and we're like, holy shit, it's steep. Like, and pole means slowly, like slowly. So they're not called Sherpas over there. I forget, but it's essentially our guide, our Sherpa. And he's like, pole, like very steep. Because looking back now, there's a photo of me and the views are insane. You can see like the rivers going through there's like Ngorongoro crater. I don't know if you can quite see it from there, but you have some views of like other mountains off in it's unbelievable. Best photo I have of my life. Like, holy aura with that one. And anyways, like, it is so steep when you're going down. Like, if you fall, like, you might die. You might turn into like an armadillo and just roll down, like, and like you're done. Like, if you lose your footing, you're done. And it took us, and keep in mind, like, I'm a pretty in shape guy. I'd say I'm pretty in shape, cardio and like in terms of just overall fitness. It took me like a couple of, I think like a few hours to get down, like 2.5, 3 hours. I was talking to the Sherpa. I'm like, what's the quickest you've ever done? He's like, 30 minutes or like 40 minutes. I'm like, what? This dude's like sprinting down the mountain. So friendly. The Tanzanian people are amazing. I got to go back. I would like to do Kili one day. I got to do Zanzibar. Arusha, I met an amazing, like, you talk about hospitality, man. Like, I'm sitting and I didn't have time to exchange Tanzanian money. And there's a guy there that I'm getting dinner and I didn't realize it was cash. I should have asked when I went in. And I'm going to pay and I'm like, ah, shit, I don't have money. So he spots me the money. He gets me a hotel because I had no signal coming from the mountain. And I'm going into Arusha, which is like close to the base of Kilimanjaro. And it's like 10 p.m. by the time my bus gets in. Because again, it's Africa. And I call it Africa time because everything is like triple the amount of time you think it's going to take, triple it. And that's Africa time. So I'm there at like 11. I have no time to call it was a hotel hostel. I don't remember. I have no time to call them and check in. So they're like, I call them at 11. They're like, hey, sorry, we canceled your booking. So I'm like, I'm screwed. I don't have cash. I don't have a place to sleep. And this goat is like, I got you, bro. Pays for dinner. Dinner was like, I don't know. The food there, it's kind of like the rest of Africa. It wasn't, but it's a sentiment, right? It's a sentiment. And he brings me to a hotel, hooks me up. And it wasn't a scam. It wasn't like, oh, like I need something from you. Like, no, he was like, got my WhatsApp. The next morning, he's like, everything go good? I'm like, you're the fucking man. Like, if I were to certain countries, like, you go do that, they're like, money, money. And the last story I have from Tanzania is a funny one. This is like a scam. It's a bracelet scam I told you guys about. They put the bracelet on you and they're like, money, money, like my kid. And usually in Africa, a big one is like they see a white tourist, so they have their little kids with them. And the mothers are like, my baby, like he needs food and this and that. And right, like that does exist. I'm not going to deny like it's terrible. Like there are parts of Africa that are truly impoverished. And if I could help everyone, I would. But that's the thing. You can't help everyone. So this woman comes up to me. I'm walking through. Africa's really like raw. If you want raw travel, go to Africa and go to like a bus station, because the bus stations, it's like dirt. It's not like a real bus station. It's just like a bunch of buses that are like chaotically spinning in and out. And you've got like the drivers who were like shouting out like Arusha, Arusha, Moshi, whatever, like Dar, which is the capital of Tanzania. And the buses are going to different spots and people are just like, toot, toot, like throwing their hands up like, oh, me, like I need a ticket, buy a ticket and you're on the bus. Meanwhile, I'm like used to European transport. So I'm like, oh, excuse me, sir, can I book a reservation? He's like, reservation? Like pulls me into like this little office and like has me write my name. He's like, just show up at this time. So I'm in the bus I'm crossing the border to Nairobi at this point in Kenya, but I'm on the Tanzania side and I'm walking. And this woman's like, my baby needs money. Or he needs food. I need money, yada, yada. I'm like, I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm sorry. Like, but eventually you got to stop talking to them. That's like, if you know anything about scams, just keep your eyes like forward and just keep walking. Eventually I'm like, I'm sorry, but then I'm walking. So I get shoved into this bus that's like kind of prepaid, whatever. And she comes up to the window, she's knocking. She hands me a bracelet. And she's like, no, gift, take it. I'm like, no. So she throws it in. It lands on my lap. I'm like, no, I'm trying to hand it back. She's like, no, keep it. And eventually they start up the bus. And it's one of the funniest like moments. I'm in the bus and it's all Tanzanian guys or Kenyans. And the guy rolls the window up and everyone starts dying laughing because the lady's now knocking. She's like, bracelet, like give me a bag. And the guy is like, like not me, like the random Tanzanian guy's like, like basically like no scamming. And everyone on the bus, like it's like the boys, like there's no girls on this bus. Like I was like one of the boys in Tanzania for a minute. Like everyone's laughing at this lady, like, no, like scammer, like he's not giving you any money. And they're looking at me, like tapping me, like, oh, like riling me up. And I'm like crying, laughing at this point. Cause I'm like, this is the funniest shit I've ever seen. Like I'm just one of the boys in Tanzania. That's hospitality. I think I just talked about Tanzania for 10 minutes. I'm going to have to clip these up so people can skip to where they want to see. But Tanzania, what a spot. I would go back. Not direly, but I would go back. Kenya. All right. Kenya's high B tier. I had a great time in Kenya. I actually had a better time in Kenya than I did in South Africa. Probably my second favorite country I visited in Africa. I was being mistaken for a Russian in this. So Nairobi is divided into the way that I was told it: Eastlands, Westlands, and I think it's CBD, Central Business District, or something like that. But CBD is kind of like, it's chaotic as fuck. Like, there's like it's chaotic, like, to say the least. And that feels, Westlands is like the nicer, seems preppier. It's like a little gentrified. CBD? That's how I remember it. It's just like CBD, like weed. I think it's Central Business District. It's chaotic. And everyone was like calling me a Russian there, and my hair was a lot shorter and all blonde. I've since cut a little bit of the blonde off. And again, super hospitable, like just like the Tanzanians, super hospitable. I love Nairobi. It's chaotic. It is. There's a lot going on. If you can't handle the stresses of uncertainty and just like shit happening. I had a kid literally come up to me. He's like, I have a talent. I have a talent. He drops a boombox and starts dancing. And I'm like, yo, like, and he's like busting some moves. Like, I actually have I text the kid once in a while, like things like that. I met a super friendly, like grandfatherly kind of figure on the curb in Nairobi. We chatted for a while. Again, I text him every once in a while. And like, just at that, just people who are genuinely interested in you. The extent of what I did in Kenya as a whole, I got to go back. I got to do like some safaris there and whatnot. I would love to go to the coast as well, but amazing time. Nairobi was a criminally underrated city for me. And then even just taking the bus through the little towns and villages on the way to Tanzania, great time. All right, we got 2 left. I intentionally saved India as my last one outside of the US. India. If you've watched a good amount of country tier lists, there's probably a general consensus, and that is India would be in a tier below this one right here, below D. Most people would say India is F tier because it is quote unquote stinky and dirty and smelly, and everyone makes street food with their feet. Well, I have something to tell you. All those videos and that shit you see, yeah, some of it I'm sure is real. There's almost 2 billion people that live there. Like, go to Memphis on the wrong Tuesday. Go to St. Louis. Go to Skid Row in LA. Go to the wrong neighborhood in New York and you see people shitting in the subway. So don't give me that, oh, it's just India. India is the most underrated country in the entire world. India is an easy S tier for me. Some of the most hospitable people in the world. The best food in the world, in my opinion. The cheapest. Malaysia's right there, but I do think India was the cheapest country that I've ever been to. You want to talk about a perfect blend of old culture and new culture. India has it all. I was in India for 2.5 weeks, and I literally cannot wait to go back. I did the Golden Triangle, which is like the most touristy thing you can do, and loved it. Everyone that goes to Delhi, I've heard like, oh, it's so this, it's so, and I'm going to actually retract what I said. I feel like a lot of the people who actually go love it. You know, all these videos you see online, they're probably made by like 17-year-old white guys who go to a high school called like St. John's Prep or St. Thomas and Brothers. It's like white kids that make these videos, I swear. There's like no way that you actually go to India, you have good experiences with the people. It's like, oh, you get scammed. Just because like a lot of the telemarketers that call your phone happen to be Indian, like I didn't get scammed, and maybe I'm in the minority here, but I'm speaking on my experiences. I didn't get scammed once in India, but it's like, oh, like people are so quick to generalize, like, oh, the guy on the phone was Indian and he tried to scam me, so India's full of scammers. India's full of way, way more hospitable people who will literally give you the shirt off their back before scammers. Golden Triangle was unreal. Jaipur, the Pink City was great. Delhi, I absolutely loved it. Agra wasn't anything too special, but the Taj, in my opinion, is the craziest of the 7 wonders of the world. I went down to Hyderabad for a wedding. It was unbelievable. The family that hosted me, one of my good buddies from college, I had such a good time. I need to go down south to Kerala to see the beaches. I need to go to Mumbai. I want to see Goa. I need to go up into the Himalayas to see them. India has everything. Even like, the family that I stayed with in Switzerland, they did a lot of volunteering work in Kolkata, which is out in like West Bengal, over closer to Bangladesh. And that's considered a very chaotic city, but I want to see it. I want to go see the Sundarbans, which is like this mangrove forest down between Bangladesh and India. There's so much to see. I had the time of my life. I had so many people like give me free things just for being there. People take also, if you want to feel like a celebrity, go to India. If you're not Indian and you go to India, I was a white guy at the time with blonder and shorter hair than this, with blue eyes. And you would have thought that I'm like Matthew McConaughey, like just walking down the street. You would have thought I'm some A-list celebrity because I swear, people are like, hold my baby, like take a photo with him. There are like school kids. I have a photo with like 15 guys. And they're like, bro, like, please, can we take a photo with you? Like, please. I was doing, and I'm not a big pay for tour guy, but I like to pay for tours at places that like, I paid for one. What I'm alluding to here is the Red Fort in Delhi. And it was like $7 to have a guy bring me around. And I'm like, I don't know the history here. So what's the point in just going around and looking? Like, if for $7 to get a guided like tour, educational tour. And I was also like kind of down bad at that point in the trip. It was a month of just, that whole month through Africa was just not a great month. No, it was, but there was just a lot going on. And that doesn't really matter. Nonetheless, this guy, he was like the most friendly guy ever. He's given me all these like tips on like spirituality and the chakras and like how to heal myself and how to feel better about myself and like, the right actions to take in life. And he was just like the most fatherly, likable figure. I ended up giving him like double the amount that I paid him. And he was just like, no. And I was like, please. Such a great guy. And anyways, this big group of guys that at the Red Fort, the guide was almost getting irritated because of the amount of people that would come up to me and be like, picture. So I'm like literally like a celebrity, like, nope, sorry, don't have time. But this big group like surrounded me and they're like, just one. So I have this awesome photo in the middle of all these guys. What a country. India, a place I cannot wait to go back to. So that's S tier. And we're putting America in here. We're at 50 countries and America is one of them. I'm going to do it. I don't care. Call me biased. I've been to 40 of the 50 states. America is an S tier country. It is. I meet a lot of people on the road and they say, I want to go to America so bad. What should I do? Honestly, if you're a tourist, stay out of the main cities. People, the second they think of America, they're like, I'm going to go to Times Square. I'm going to gamble at Vegas and I'm going to go to the strip clubs in Miami. You're probably not going to like America that much if that's what you do. If you're going to New York, yeah, like go see Ellis Island, I guess, like the Statue of Liberty and Times Square. But then like go to like the Upper East Side or the Lower East Side, Chelsea, the Meatpacking District. Get lost in the city a little bit because New York is like, has some beautiful little neighborhoods. If you're going to go to a city, like, I don't know, Vegas, do you really need to go to Vegas? Like if you're going to go all the way to Vegas, stop. You're probably renting a car. Go to Zion. Go to the Grand Canyon. Go to Bryce Canyon. Colorado, Utah, Montana, Washington, Oregon, the Pacific Northwest. I mean, it's all very different, right? Like Oregon is so much different than Utah, but I've done extensive road trips throughout the U.S., and it is the most, in my opinion, most naturally beautiful country on planet Earth. There are sights to see in America that will keep you up at night. Zion is like literally like Avatar to me. Glacier National Park. You've got even like the Badlands in South Dakota, so underrated. And then you have really nice cities. You have like nice small cities. Like I love like Salt Lake City. And then, I have a little bit of a bias obviously towards Boston. You have cities like Charlotte. You have some really nice cities in the US. And yeah, they don't hold a flame to Europe, but then again, America is massive. You have unlimited things to do. Culturally, you have the South, the Midwest, the New Englanders, and then you have the Bostonians, the New Yorkers, and then you have like the Mid-Atlantic, like Philly and DC and the DMV, and that's all within a few hours of each other. And then you go 6 hours south, and they're saying y'all and asking if you want grits instead of home fries. So you have everything in the US. It's S tier. I'm not going to elaborate too much further. So that is my country tier list. And this video was like an hour and 50 minutes. I'm going to plug each country. I got to go in and edit it. This might not get out on Sunday. I'm going to try to get it out. We'll see. But let's go through it quick. S tier, Italy, Japan, India, the US. A tier, Spain, Brazil, Slovenia, Switzerland, Thailand, Colombia, South Korea, Tanzania, Hungary. Wow, Hungary and the Netherlands, like, you know, it's literally like the same flag. The red's a little different, and then obviously the green and blue. But the Netherlands, Poland. Oh, am I gonna? That's Poland, right? Not Indonesia. I always get them mixed up. Where's it? Oh, I can't even see it. Okay, Ecuador, Mexico, Iceland, Kenya. All right, you see the list. I'm not gonna keep going, but that is officially my country tier list. I cannot wait to add more to this list. Probably do another one of these when I get to like 100, and I'm sure it will have changed because I'm sure that I will have visited many of these countries at least more than once, at least many of them more than twice by that point. And this is a continuously updated list. But as of May 2026, this is it. This is my country tier list. I'll see everyone in the next video next week. I'll be talking about some of my craziest travel nightmare stories. I'll see you next weekend. That's it.